The entrepreneurs who want to start up their companies, who want to study further, who want to be executives. So we wanted the existing leadership to be able to help those people. I think that corner is the noisiest corner, please. For the last 2 years, we've had the presence of Mr. Gladson Verghese. He has been instrumental in providing a terrific change to this organization, giving some technical information because we are engineers, and also provide a forum for discussion and have some entertainment. So I'm so
benefits of becoming a member of AAEIO, and especially if you have young children or if you have friends who have young children who are interested in engineering, who are pursuing engineering, this is a very good board. You can introduce your children to, you can be a part of, do some quality work for the next generation to come, and that's one of our goals as well. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of board members coming on board, talking about the benefits of the membership of AAEIO. But without further ado, let me go on and start. So proudly we hailed, and the twilights less gleaming, ruled by stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight. On the members we watched, we're so gallantly streaming.
Organization with different startup companies. They did an excellent job today to finance, not only finance, it's called Shark Invest. It's something like CNBC do Shark Tank. You present your products, your plan, business plan, and your sales. If you like, we will invest. So a lot of our board members are very lucky to have business owners, and also Bridge Sharma worked so hard to make this happen. Thank you all the three for doing very excellent job to make this happen. Then Gordonji, excellent job. One is education and mentorship, second is business networking, and third is professional networking, and fourth is charity. And you will hear about charity. We did a golf outing. Gulzar Bhai and Dr. Vora was the chairman. They did an excellent job there. We were able to raise some funds to help the poor and needy students, engineering students. So I need your help if you can. Please, a lot of CEOs, CTOs, business owners in this group. So please help us with that. And also about the organization. We started a chapter 2 years back in Milwaukee. So next Sunday is the second annual gala. It's going great. They're growing big time. A few folks from Milwaukee is here. And thank you all for coming all the way from Milwaukee. So if everybody was welcome to join that event, it's in Milwaukee, and several dignitaries will be there as well. So they're all growing, and also we started a chapter, starting a chapter in DC in February. And several dignitaries, I had a dinner with, for example, Param Soni. He's the CIO, Chief Information Officer of US of Department of Commerce. He's the BITS Plan, Birla Institute of Technology graduate, and also former Indian Ambassador to Peru, Pradeep Kapoor. He's also a Delhi IIT graduate. we will be, they're all excited. Several CTOs were there, several CEOs were there, and some professors from University of Maryland were there. So it was great. And also we started a chapter. I'm going to start a chapter in Atlanta. A gentleman is an investor. He invested in 15 different startup companies. That's his job, invest in startup companies. It's a risky business, but he heard from the posting from one of our friend Sujitra. So he called me, listen, I'm excited, let's start a chapter here. He's a big businessman, so we'll be starting a chapter in Atlanta as well. And we started a chapter in Purdue, and a Purdue graduate as well. I know there's some Boilermakers here. It's around 900 plus engineering students. And also the Dean of Engineering is from India. And I had a lunch with the president of Purdue. He's very excited. I invited him for this event, but he said maybe next time. He's in DC today, so he couldn't come in today as well. And we started a chapter in Colorado University.
How many of you have been to Italy? It's a magical place. I fell in love with the city of Rome. And at that time I decided that one day my dream is that I'm going to come back here to Rome, and I'm going to bring my wife, I'm going to bring my kids, I'm going to bring my brother, my parents, and we're going to have a fantastic holiday. That dream became a reality this past summer, where I took my whole family to Rome and we had a fantastic holiday. Now, being first generation immigrants, what we often do is that we work very hard, but we end up neglecting financial planning because we did not grow up with the financial planning concepts that are considered to be the norm in the United States. So at Wall Street Alliance Group, what we have done is that we have a team of fiduciaries and just to let you know, if you were to die and you did not have a will, something as simple as the custody of your children will be decided not by their grandparents, it'll be decided by the government. You can avoid this problem by simply setting up a will. Now, can I get a show of hands as to how many people sitting over here have a trust set up? All right, so this is roughly about 10% of the room, okay? So getting a trust set up is very, very important, because if you were to die, even if you have a will and you don't have a trust set up, what's going to happen is that the state of Illinois is going to come, they're going to take control of all your assets, and your estate is going to go through a very lengthy and costly probate process. And it'll be a very long time before your children can get access to those assets. This lengthy and costly probate process can be avoided by simply setting up a revocable trust. Now, another mistake that people make is that after they die, they give their wealth to their children in their individual names. Now, God forbid, if the child goes through a divorce or a child goes through a creditor issue, those assets get depleted. On the other hand, if you give the same assets to the child under the protection of an irrevocable trust, the child still maintains access to the assets, but in the case of a divorce, in the case of a creditor issue, those assets are protected. Now, for those of you who raised your hands and said that you've got a trust set up, how many of you have completed the funding of the trust? All right, so a few of you have, but let me tell you, if you set up the trust and you don't complete the funding of it, probate will not be avoided. So funding means all the titles and the beneficiaries need to be updated so that they're in alignment with the trust. Now, the current estate tax exemption for an individual is roughly, law stands right now, this is scheduled to go down in 2026 to roughly around 6 million. What that basically means is that if you were to die today and your net worth was 11, using strategies such as gifting to a spousal access trust or gifting to an irrevocable trust where you maintain indirect access through the spouse. Now, how many of you would like to learn about some ways to reduce your taxes, to save taxes before the end of the year? Can I get a show of hands? I would home and bonds, 1-year T-bill, you're getting risk-free close to 5%. The fixed income rate is very high right now. How many of you sitting over here today have stocks in your portfolio that you're down on? Show of hands, how many people? All right? So you can use a strategy called tax loss harvesting where you can sell the stock, book the loss, and you can use that loss to offset capital gains in real estate as well as the stock market, and you can carry that forward indefinitely. Market declines are also a great opportunity to do Roth conversions. You know, says converted to a Roth when the market is down, then all the subsequent growth and withdrawals are tax-free.
As the dignitaries are
among my people, engineers that is. A special shout out to the smartest, best looking, kindest engineers here, who are of course the chemical engineers. A terrible political idea, but old habits die hard, I guess. So I came to Congress and I sometimes think that my job in Congress is to basically to represent engineers and entrepreneurs. In the first sense, to remind my colleagues that while the laws of the United States are negotiable, the laws of thermodynamics are not. And you'd be surprised how often we need to remind them of that. But in the second, that we live in a world where increasingly we have to figure out how to get by on an increasingly finite set of resources. We have to figure out how to pollute less, how to waste less, and maintain our standard of living. We have to figure out how to bring the rest of the world up to our standard of living without adding more unsustainability in the planet. And what every entrepreneur knows is that that's easy. And there is nobody who ever comes to Washington and tells their member of Congress that it's easy. Nobody comes to Washington and says, our business is just not that efficient. Our competitors are better than we are, right? And yet we know that those things are possible. I go back to my prior private sector life where we used to go into industrials and get paid for making them more efficient. And our secret sauce wasn't that we were so smart. Our secret sauce was that we went to the engineers in those companies and said, it didn't work because the purchasing manager just didn't like you very much. Maybe it was a project that didn't work because you didn't have the capital budgets, but we know those opportunities are out there. And as we go forward into this rapidly evolving world, the work we're doing on climate, I'll give you a crazy statistic. The United States has about a $21 trillion economy, and we consume about 100 quadrillion BTUs of energy a year. That means that our energy productivity, we generate about $200 per million BTU. That is almost not quite half of what the UK produces. The UK produces 360. It's a third of what Switzerland produces. If any of you in your business said our company only gets a third of the return on capital as our competitors, you would be fired tomorrow. If you said our workforce is only a third as productive as our competitors, you'd be fired tomorrow. And yet we do a horrible job in our country of turning energy into useful economic activity. And that's either really depressing or an amazing opportunity. And so as we work through the global challenges that we have, my ask for you is, number one, keep doing what you're doing. Number two, let us know what's in that drawer of ideas that you have that we can better deploy. What's keeping you from doing it? Are there laws that we can change to get it done? And then let's go get it done together because it's necessary. So thank you all so much. Thank you for having me, Gladson. It's always a pleasure to be here. And with that, I'm speaking.
supporting this event tonight. We have two prestigious awards to give out. Mr. Adil Zaman. And Mr. Anil.
To make sure that the engineers are successful. Illinois has had more startups in the last 3 years than any state in the nation. And we are trying to pave the way. Isn't that exciting? We are paving the way to make sure this owner it has the ability to be successful in Illinois. We are on our 9th credit upgrade, so you can be assured that it's safe and successful in Illinois. And we too, just like Congressman Caston, we look to the engineers to help solve our problems. We know that we're facing and we're entering into a green economy, and we know it's the engineers that are going to be the ones that bring us the solutions to our problems. So know that the state of Illinois, myself, is here to help you in any way.
I actually work with engineers a lot. I'm an iron worker by trade. So I work with a lot of civil engineers and structural engineers. And when I go back to my regular job when I'm not in the political world, I was actually just working with a civil engineer yesterday. So I make the world go around, and then we get to build it. And sometimes we get really mad at engineers too, the way that they end up designing it and trying to put it in and install it. So I appreciate that. And one of the things that I'm doing in the House right now is working on some of the equity portion of that to try to get more civil engineers within IDOT. One of the issues, as everybody in this room knows, is the cost of becoming an engineer. All those student loans, all that tuition. And what we're doing, one of the representatives that's actually a civil engineer, he's leaving, and I'm probably going to take over the bill, but we want to do a 5-year contract where if you sign up with IDOT, that we do a $15,000 a year loan repayment.
Members, and the other thing about is the charity, I would leave that, I've done my time, I leave that to Mr. Mago. He's one
side, but we have that with us too. So first off, I want to thank you all for being here today and your generous support in the past as well. And it's because of you that AAEIO has been in existence, actually 3rd year in a row. And we are so grateful to you for all that. You have such a compassionate heart,